Well, my answer here, one is the second part of this question says, when nothing seems to go right. Mm-hmm. And I just look and the hard reality is that a lot of times things aren't going right. And the harder reality is that nobody cares. Nobody else cares that you're going through hard stuff. Like I've just had to learn that tough reality. When I'm going through a lot, I want to just naturally humanly, I want to bring other people in on it for them to either go, oh, you're really going through a hard time, or to make them miserable alongside of me. And hopefully I'm not the only person who does that out there, but really most people don't care because they're going through their own hard stuff. So the reality is we are all always going through some level of hard stuff. And so we do have to make that choice to have a good attitude. The other reality is when you're going through hard things, emotions are real. Like you said, Mama, about, we can't let our emotions control us. And that is the ultimate truth. But for me, I've spent my life trying to navigate the emotions that are present in my body, that are present in my mind. And so I've had to learn, okay, well, yeah, I don't want to let my emotions control me, but what does that mean? How do I deal with that? What these emotions are happening. So what does that look like? And so for me, it's a lot of self-talk, to be honest. I talk to myself a lot and I speak to my emotions. I'll do it a lot in first person. Katie, you are feeling overwhelmed. I may or may not have done this morning. Katie, you are feeling overwhelmed right now. You are feeling exhausted. You are feeling these things. So I am acknowledging this is actually happening. And then I find, okay, well, why is this happening? Is there a reason? Because emotions don't really need a reason. They can go wild and crazy for just a little reason. But is there actually a logical reason? So I can say, okay, I am feeling exhausted. There is a reason that I'm feeling that way because I'm not sleeping the greatest. Okay, I need to take that into account because that matters. The fact that my body isn't getting a lot of sleep or enough sleep is going to affect my life. So do I still have to choose to have a good attitude? Yes, but I also recognize I've got a body factor happening here. I can also say, okay, well, what else? Why else am I feeling this way? Well, I have all this stuff to do. Okay, well, let's break that down. Okay, what of this are you taking on that you don't have to take on right now? What can you lay to the side? What can you delegate? What can wait until later? What has to get done? So for me, to break down the emotions into smaller bits, because emotions feel really huge, to break it down, to bring some practicality, to bring some reality into it, to get it down into little bits, it helps me to be able to manage those things a lot easier than just to say, well, get over it and choose to do the better thing, which sometimes you got to just suck it up, buttercup. But
I think that's really good because in actuality, you are not letting them control you.
Yeah.
You are making a conscious choice to make decisions in spite of them.
Yeah.
So we're not ignoring the emotions. We're not even ignoring the attitude. It hasn't come out of our mouth, but it's in our head. Mm-hmm. And we're dealing with those things, but to be aware of them and acknowledge them so that we can make decisions in a healthy way to confront them. Yeah. Because honestly, just to say, stop it, will never, ever work.
Yeah.
Or to beat yourself up because you're feeling what you're feeling, or beat yourself up because, I have this attitude right now. That's just going to make it worse. So we have to recognize, I love what you said. Why are they there? Mm-hmm. And it could be something as simple as not getting enough sleep.
Yeah.
I know that's probably one of the things that can get me because I'm exhausted.
Yeah.
And so I think it's really good because, you're still not making decisions by it. Everything you just said. It was very authentic. It was very real. Absolutely every person on the planet has felt it. But what sets you apart in that was your processing through so they don't control you, mm-hmm. that you're making the decisions. And at first, it's a conscious, intentional decision.
Yeah.
And then the more you practice that decision, then the emotions start losing their power.
Yeah.
And one thing that I've taught a lot about when we face something fear-based or highly emotive, it's sending these chemicals through our body, which is a real thing.
Yeah.
I mean, it's real. And but the fact is, it can take up to 3 to 4 hours for those emotions that, or the chemicals that come from those emotions, to be able to get out of our body. Just like if we drink a lot of caffeine, we have to wait for that caffeine to leave our body, or eat too much sugar. And so we must recognize when there's such heightened emotions to the point that it's going and affecting our attitudes and wanting to control our decisions. When we start dealing with it, we will feel that for 3 to 4 hours, even when we're doing all the right things.
And that has been very helpful for me to recognize the chemical element of it. And, you can't just force it to pass, and I can't just stop for 3 to 4 hours and not do anything.
Right.
But just cognitively knowing, okay, this is happening in my body. I need to just stay steady for this amount of time. And it's going to change. It's going to pass, because emotions like to make themselves look massive. And I think I also have to look and say, am I exploiting reality right now? And that's why it helps me to break things down, to get into little small bits, because emotions want to say, they want to take over, and you can't really let them do that. So, sorry, this is a long-winded answer, but that's...
We're kind of relating emotions to attitude, and they are.
They are, yeah.
As you guys were talking, I was thinking about how emotions, at one extreme, someone does not even acknowledge them.
Yeah.
Where they don't control the person at all, it seems. And then you have another side where when they're high, the person's high. When they're low, they're like the changing of the waves or the tide, right? And so that says that there's a possibility for a middle ground, and that takes cultivation.
Yeah,
that's good.
And so when you're dealing with emotions, you might be the person that is always riding the waves of emotions. There is a middle ground where you can start cultivating it, putting boundaries up, internal boundaries, where you're able to control those things. And maybe you're the person that just tries to ignore them, and then once a year you have this explosion and makes this mess. You can start cultivating, learning the language of the heart, and being able to express certain things when that's not the easiest thing for you. So whatever side you're on, you can find that middle ground through cultivation, through intentionally working on the issue of emotions and attitude. So if you feel so overwhelmed, there is a chance through intentional behavior to start dealing with these things.
And I think that's why I have a lot to say on this particular question, because I have had to practice this for my whole life of how to work these things out.